word. What's good, everybody? How y'all doing tonight? As you can tell by the title, as you can see, it's a beat detective episode tonight. Late night deep dive, use squish, and some medicinal things. Tonight's strain of the night is going to be GMO, which is garlic cookies, and I believe garlic OG or garlic cookie and Girl Scout cookies mixed together with a little lemon gelato. You know what I'm saying? Situation. Yeah, we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get it cracking like we always do around this time. Please, I would like to say this: enjoy responsibly. Please be the appropriate age for whatever substance you're consuming. And please make sure you get it from a dispensary and not someone off the street. You know what I'm saying? Don't want nothing happen to nobody. We just want to have fun, live our lives, and talk about things that are maybe of the conspiratorial type. And we're going to get into it tonight, y'all. I'm going to break down or talk about and or bring up however you want to look at it. I won't say the 10 that I hear the most. That's the best way I can put it. Or 10 that I have heard of, experienced, seen, whatever, however you want to call this shit, man. Okay? So, yeah, this is what we're doing tonight. I'm not a big dabber, so y'all know that bit is going to last me a while. And plus, one of the cats broke my rig. So, with that being said, I have definitely been trying to find another means. So, until then, I'm spreading that shit on Lizzie. You know what I mean? Like so. I want this to be fun. Want this to be what's the word I'm looking for? I want this to be informative, I guess. So please get whatever you need for this ride, and let's attempt to have fun at this. Take it for what it's worth. Please understand that part. Take this shit for what it's worth. I don't know how to put it. Like, don't just kind of throw it out to the wayside type shit. But yeah, just know that it's a lot. It's a lot of different groups, a lot of different ways to look at this shit. So yeah, trying to get to my notes, wherever the fuck they are. Okay. I think I found it. I'm sorry, y'all. Give me 1 second. Give a brother a second. All right. So, when the pandemic dropped, we learned ultra fast that power ain't just presidents. The pandemic showed us a lot of different things. It showed us that, like, if they really wanted to shut down the world, they could for a dumbass reason, which they did. You know what I'm saying? Like, they got us with that one. Now, what the fuck else they gonna come up with to try to control us? We may never know. You know what I'm saying? We may never know what the next plan is. You know what I'm saying? There's councils, boards, commissions, advisory groups, the international community, the World Bank, pharma cartels, and whatever the hell the supply chain is. We low-key discovered there's a backstage and like a realm to real reality. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, we see a lot on the surface. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot of shit on the surface. You know, on the flow, however you want to look at it. You know how you want to phrase it. But nonetheless, we can't help but realize that now there's another world within this world. Another world that some of us may have indulged in, been in, the rooms we were in, our position in work, life, whatever the case may be, bro. You know, whatever group you belong to, whatever, you know what I mean? But nonetheless, secret societies ain't spooky because all the rituals and all the shit that we hear and all the things that we know of. You feel me? Um oh damn. I think I fucked up. I fucked around and forgot something. But never mind. Okay. They're really spooky because these how do I put this? These organizations keep groups powerful and people organized, synchronized, and synchronized power changes timelines. From 2020 to 2026, that's been the biggest cheat code in geopolitics. Um, Not to mention AI and a lot of other things that have made their way and made their bones in this world in the past decade or so that we can't help but hear and see and not ignore. You know what I'm saying? Oh shit. What did I do with you? Hold on, give me 1 second. That's what's up. All right, be right back. Fuck that shit. Nonetheless. Hey Mo, how you doing? What was that? Okay, we're gonna get into secret societies in the modern playbook. Um, Basically, what I've come to realize is power used to be about guns. Then it was about banks and money. Now it's about networks and frameworks. Um, in a way, Naruto taught us village leaders don't really rule. You know what I'm saying? Councils do. Same with the hood. Mayors don't run the block most of the time. The crews do. You feel what I'm saying? Which I'll just be doing recover through and leaving a beautiful comment. But we finna go ahead and crack this shit off. Okay. Let me get to where I need to get at. Do, 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 do. All right. Yay, there we go. All right. Boy, it took me forever, but we got it together. All right. Now, we're going to start with the Freemasons. Like, this is the original networking DLC, as you can see. Freemasons are like the OG secret handshake crew. Dating back to the 14th century, stonemason guilds. Yeah, men who actually touched bricks and did the shit they were actually meant to do. Um, I always thought that was cool, or at least as far as that's concerned. Like stonemasons and shit like that. I thought that was cool. Sorry, I have to lean over because this one monitor is like fucking. But nonetheless, they somehow evolved from building cathedrals and churches and different formats and buildings and shit. Uh, allegedly, quote unquote, building governments, banks, and low key the blueprint to modern society. Now, the weird part, Freemasons pop up everywhere in history, like Easter eggs. Developers forgot to just move or get out the game. You know what I'm saying? Here's a few to name, you know what I'm saying, just to give y'all a sample of who were Masons or known Masons. George Washington was a Mason. Benjamin Franklin was a Mason and a cuckoo bird. Mozart was a Mason. Winston Churchill was a Mason. Simon Bolivar, Mason. King George VI, Mason. Now, even today, Mason lodges still exist in thousands of cities, including random quiet suburbs where nothing else is happening except maybe a HOA beef. And I ain't gonna lie to you, that house, you know, housing authority, they don't be playing no games. They be wanting your lawn at a certain measurement. They be wanting some shit now just to stay in their neighborhood. That shit be crazy. But okay, bring y'all to the last decade or so. Freemasons aren't out here openly running world policy, but worldwide membership quietly spiked post-pandemic around 2021 to 2024. You ask why? Men headed or men needed belonging, structure, brotherhood, and some sort of meaning. And the Masons offer that without calling it therapy. Also, a discreet network of dudes who know how to get things done behind closed doors. That's basically LinkedIn without all the cringy shit. Now, whenever people start talking about Mason symbolism, the compass, the G, the I, the pyramid, it ends up tied to a larger Illuminati conspiracy web. And honestly, it doesn't help that the US dollar doesn't casually has an eye of providence staring at you like it knows everything about you type shit. Um, Hip hop has its own Masonic equivalent, not literally but symbolically. Um, Exclusive networking rooms, powerful mentorship hierarchies, gatekeepers, coded languages and symbols, and ritual access to the next tier of success. And let's just call it a Rock Nation brunch masonry. Freemasons are the only club where the uniform is a tuxedo and the mission is low key everything. Imagine telling your girl, babe, I gotta go do secret society stuff, and she just lets you do that shit with no questions asked. Um, Next group we're gonna talk about is the Bilderberg group. This is basically annual patch notes for the planet Earth. Bilderberg Group is where power meets discretion. Founded in 1954 at the Hotel del Bilderberg in the Netherlands, originally to prevent Europe from turning into another geopolitical op simulator. Now, as of today, it's basically an invite-only summit where global elites compare notes on wars, AI, money, elections, tech, currency shifts, and world trends, which is also code for flexing influence without having to post it on Instagram. Um, and that's what I see a lot of this shit being is just a way for motherfuckers to get together with people and flex on them. Like, but it's not like our flex. It's a whole different level of the shit. But it's like watching me fuck up this country in 2 days, and then everybody still love me type shit. You know what I mean? Like just trying and do shit just because they can do shit. You know what I'm saying? As far as members and influence go, guests have included CEOs of trillion-dollar companies, NATO officials, central bank chairs, tech founders, prime ministers, royal families, think tank warlords, media executives, and that's the quiet part. But what's really gets said there, we'll never fucking know because journalists are banned unless they're invited, and you know if they're invited, they have to shut up and play nice. As far as like I said, the last decade or so, 2020 to 2026, post COVID, the agenda topics really got spicier. This is what we know of as of right now. AI governance was 2023 through 2026. Ukraine war and NATO positioning 2022 through 2026. U.S. China rivalry escalation. Semiconductor warfare in Taiwan. Central bank digital currencies. Privacy versus surveillance. Disinformation monitoring. Climate, energy, and market transitions, and global fragmentation. Their wording, not mine. These are kind of random trivia topics. These are kind of like the patch notes for the world economy on some shit. If you did want to, if you catch my drift, you know what I mean? Like, and every president, prime minister, and CEO pretends they don't care, but really, in actuality, they all care. Now, digging a little deeper, critics argue Bilderberg is where Democratic governments get their marching orders. Is that somehow proven? No. But do policy shifts after Bilderberg meeting frequently align with stated agendas? Yes. Coincidence? Coincidences are suspicious when repeated. But also, hip hop has its own Bilderberg moment, the yearly private label manager brand exec summits where careers get decided off camera. You feel me? Way off camera. Every rapper has said it at least once. Rooms I shouldn't have been in changed my life. And you can take that for whatever you want. You feel me? But you know what it sounds like. Same energy, really. Bilderberg is basically a TED Talk meeting a mafia commission, but catered and a little frou-frou. You know what I'm saying? It's like Comic-Con for the elites, except instead of cosplay, they talk about supply chains and Ukraine. All right, next up, we got the World Economic Forum. And this is basically what you would call the yearly global management update. All right, the World Economic Forum, also known as WEF, is one of the few groups that doesn't even pretend to be secret. They just roll into Davos, Switzerland once a year, like it's a boss raid event, and every head of state, billionaire, banker, academic, think tank strategist, and tech lord shows up to this meeting. Their public narrative sounds wholesome. We're here to improve the state of the world. But improving the world in itself is subjective. Especially when the people defining improvement are the same ones who profited from the world being messed up in the first fucking place. Once again, bring it to modern times, 20 through 26. The receipts that I've come to see about from WEF is basically where modern narratives get tested and sometimes get deployed out into the world. We can call this shit the Great Reset 2020 through 2022. There go headphones. Energy transition roadmaps post-Ukraine war. AI governance frameworks. That's a class I'm taking now. AI governance and ethics. Global CBDC feasibility. Pandemic surveillance and biosecurity. Supply chain redesign. I miss the old yellow Wendy's, bro. I ain't gonna hold y'all. climate finance policy bridges, digital identity systems, and labor automation forecasting. And these right here are not small topics. That's literally how civilizations get redesigned and restructured. Now, this is where the shit gets kind of creepy, and you may want to hold on to your seatbelts. Okay, where WF gets spooky is unelected power, no voter oversight, high public influence, government plus a government fusion. You know what I'm saying? Corporate and government fusion, tech surveillance and finance networking. A lot of critics see WEF as the rehearsal room for technocratic rule. Supporters say it's harmless think tanking, but sides agree it's influential. And influence without accountability is how conspiracies form in the first place. Now, if you want to compare this to a hip hop, rap parallel, the music industry stakeholders capitalism moment was when brands realized rappers had more cultural power than the entire marketing departments combined. The labels, CEOs, and brands formed their own alliances, and the culture started moving like a hedge fund. So when you think about that, WF is just that, but at a nation state scale. You know what I'm saying? Like, half the world thinks WF is saving the planet, and the other half thinks they're trying to turn to a cyberpunk DLC pack. And get like when I was doing this shit a few weeks back, that's exactly what popped in my head. Like, upload popped in my head. Upload popped in my head as far as shows, cyberpunk as far as games, space truckers, just as far as the overall like where I think they want us to be type shit. You know what I mean? So it's weird, but I feel like that's really what the hell they trying to get us to go to. You know what I'm saying? But moving on to the next group, the fourth group we have is the Bohemian Grove. Basically, where billionaires go LARP with fire rituals and some weird stuff shit. But we ain't gonna go there. Bohemian Grove is one of the strangest entries on this list because it combines politics, power, ritual, networking, and performance arts. All inside a private redwood forest in Northern California. I hate to say it, but I feel like Mount Sinai is not a good thing. Sinai, anything is not a good thing. Anything in California is not, I don't think it's going to end up being nothing good for you. Just personally, that's just me. Like, I don't know. I feel like they call it Holly weird for a reason. If you know what Holly is, that's also weird in itself. Just nothing I think really good takes place in California, like on that level. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that's why there's so much turmoil out there, because so much shit like this going on. You know what I mean? So, nonetheless, every July, some of the most powerful men in politics, banking, defense, and media gather inside a no press, no wives, no cameras event that dates back to 1872. That's what I'm saying, like, bro. Like, that shit, like, it's so many people that have died at that Mount Sinai, and it's like a lot of celebrities have died there. So, in my opinion, it's not anything good. You feel what I'm saying? Like, now, when you get to this Bohemian shit, like, I feel like it's weird when it's a boys only meeting. I feel like that's kind of strange, dog. Like, when you have a boys only meeting and that shit's supposed to be the world leaders, like, I don't know about this shit, man. But this is where presidents, diplomats, CEOs, and military brass have historically mingled off the record. Now, to do what? We may never know, may never get disclosed, but a lot of notable historical attendees like Ronald Reagan, Richard Nixon, Henry Kissinger, George H.W. Bush, Herbert Hoover, and that's just to name the least. And that's how I mean, I think a lot of people have passed at Mount Sinai. And I think it's no coincidence. Because I feel like, okay, I hate to break it down like this, but I'm gonna break it down like this. Okay. If you were trying to get rid of people, what would be the best thing to have? A morgue, right? Right. Okay, not saying this to say anything, but just saying. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you were trying to get rid of shit, best thing to have would be is a morgue, right? Right. So the best thing to do with motherfuckers that you trying to get out the way, hospital. What does a hospital have? A morgue, most times. Right? Right. So it's a twofer on their part. You feel what I'm saying? And they can keep everything disclosed and under wraps. You know what I'm saying? Get everybody to sign NDAs and shit. It's easy peasy. You know what I'm saying? Like, get your ass up out of here. And if we really don't want you, we just do something that's called a suicide. Do you feel me? While security and secrecy skyrocketed post 2018, insider leaks suggest attendees now include Silicon Valley AI investors, defense and surveillance contractors, biotech strategists, hedge fund operators, and energy sector billionaires. And that combination, biotech, AI, and defense, is one of the most potent geopolitical cocktails of our era. Imagine those three being in the same room together. Biotech, your ass looking like Jax or Cyberpunk type shit. AI, all through your house, smart house type shit, and in your weapons and in defense. Nah, I don't know about that shit. Cause think about a RoboCop chasing your ass around the motherfucking crib type shit, or busting in your shit. Just shit to think about. That's all I'm simply saying. It's just shit to think about, y'all. Now the controversy of the ritual, which is the infamous cremation of care ritual, involving a robe ceremony and a 40-foot owl statue, has fueled conspiracy theories for decades. Is it symbolic theater? Mm. Is it weirdly theatrical for people who control military budgets and drone programs? Definitely. Now, when you get to the geopolitical suspicion layer, secrecy, power, no media, ritual bonding, all wrapped up brings perfect conditions for policy alignment, pre-election agreements, defense cooperation, strategic pacts, and probably some, hide the peanut butter shit going on. But nonetheless, unlike WF or Bilderberg, Grove has almost zero public agenda, making it harder to track. Now, hip hop itself doesn't have a Bohemian Grove, but it does have private industry retreats, artist camps, label summits, festival VIP grounds, and exclusive brand trip alliances. So it's more so like you had to be there to get the assignment type shit. Bohemian Grove is what happens to rich men when you combine summer camp, ancient rituals, and military budgets all in one. All right, next up is one that's very common and very popular, well known. It's Skull and Bones. It's Yale's secret fact that accidentally speed ran the CIA. Skull and Bones is one of the few secret societies with receipts so wild that historians don't need to exaggerate. It was founded 1832 at Yale. All these dates don't sound kind of 1872, 1832. If you get time, just look them up. But basically, the membership is 15 seniors per year groomed for leadership. Bonesmen have historically funneled into the CIA, NSA, Wall Street banks, diplomatic corps, Supreme Court clerkships, and Ivy League presidencies. Bonesmen still disproportionately occupy national security and financial sectors, which I don't find crazy at all. Like, What when you want control of something, what you gonna do? That's the main shit you need: finances and security. God damn it! Like, I mean, they're playing the game in a way, like they're telling us what they're doing, but we're not just jumping on that shit or trying to figure that shit out. We just like, okay, cool, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Not thinking that like this shit could ultimately blow up in our face and be the reason why we end up fucked up. You know what I'm saying? Or why the shit's going on now. Key sectors on Bones' influence in the 2020s, which would be intelligence community, cyber warfare, as we know, foreign policy think tanks, defense contracts, banking giants, and ESG fund ecosystems. And as we all know, the Bush family legacy. Two U.S. presidents and one major presidential candidate came from Skull and Bones. I'm president for a college society. Geopolitical suspicion layer. Bones is essentially talent scouting, grooming pipeline, and power networking funnel. Like it's just basically them rebranding and redoing everything they need to do to make sure they stay in power type shit. Like many argue, it resembles a mini deep state incubator long before the term even existed. Now, we know the Bush family legacy, and two U.S. presidents and one major presidential candidate came from Skull and Bones. And this is supposed to be just a college society. You know what I'm saying? When both Bush and Kerry ran for president in 2004, both were bonesmen. And conspiracy theorists concluded elections were just theater. And I remember playing that game back in the day as a kid on mini clips. I think 04, 08, 2000, I think they all had a presidential versus match, and it was a presidential knockout type shit. It was actually fun though, and you whooped them up. It was dope at the time. You just had to be there, man. But now, like, this kind of shows up in hip hop, but not really. Um, the energy kind of shows up, but not the group. Like, you can find the energy and shit like label head grooming, manager to executive pipelines, quiet industry endorsements, and, you know, talent elevation behind the curtain. You know what I'm saying? Not everyone gets exposure. It's only the chosen 15. So it's like you can get like I don't know. It's just hard for me to respect that shit. Like you just got your ass whooped by like 15, 20 dudes. But then come in the room playing like you the hardest nigga to ever step out the goddamn whoop. You know, man. But then these motherfuckers be in there with the good jobs and the titles and all that shit. It's just I'm just good on it, bro. I was good on that shit before I went to college. Like I had already put that in my head. Like they tried the shit, but it was like, bro, I'm not joining that group, bro. Like I'm with what I'm with. I am who I am. I'm not fucking with this shit, man. Like it didn't even make sense to me. So I gotta sit up here not only deal with the shit as being a freshman on the football team in college, but then some other motherfuckers are supposed to be allowed to whoop my ass whenever they see fit. For me to call myself a fucking gang, man, I no jumping in shit that only happened once in a lifetime, bro. But nonetheless, we're gonna go into the Trilateral Commission, and they were founded in 1973, which is more modern than the others. But it was founded in 1973 by whom? David Rockefeller. The Trilateral Commission tried to do what the UN couldn't: create structured cooperation between North America, Europe, and Japan during the Cold War economic race. Today, the Commission has broadened to include South Korea, India, Australia, and other Pacific players, reflecting modern power shifts, but you know how that shit goes. Trilateral priorities quality align with top tier geopolitics. China encirclement strategies, semiconductor warfare again with Taiwan, tech and cyber sovereignty, supply chain rewiring, global finance restructuring, energy security post Ukraine, AI governance and global standards, and Indo Pacific strategic realignment. Now, these are not fringe topics, but they do define the 2020s. Unlike WF, Trilateral doesn't market itself to the public. Most people couldn't even name a member by design, but conspiracy theories argue Trilateral is where the West balances Japan versus China, US versus EU interests, and NATO versus Indo-Pacific strategies. The goal isn't domination, it's equilibrium. And equilibrium ultimately is power. And when you think about this, hip hop's trilateral moment is the ongoing triangle between labels, streaming platforms, tech, and venture capital. One moment. My bad, Caps was jumping on stuff. But nonetheless, we'll get into the Club of Rome. Club of Rome was founded in 1968 by scientists, not economics, economists, and industrial planners who wanted to answer a terrifying question. What happens when exponential growth meets finite resources? In 1972, they dropped their famous report, Limits to Growth, which basically argued you can't grow forever, nature has a bill, and capitalism doesn't print oxygen. Mainstream economists mocked it at the time, then spent the 2020s accidentally proving parts of it right. So suddenly, every major government and corporation started using language straight out of the Club of Rome, forecasting net zero targets, resource caps, risk corridors, carbon markets, ecological thresholds, post growth economics, and circular supply chains. And then the pandemic hit in 2020, exposing how fragile global supply logistics actually were. Energy shocks from the Ukraine war, 2022 to 24, forced governments to pivot again. Rationing, LNG dependency, renewables race, rare earth minerals scarcity, and semiconductor bottlenecks. And this is where the Club of Rome modeled half a century ago. Critics argue the club isn't predicting collapse, they're managing it, controlling energy transitions, shaping environmental policy, reframing climate narratives, and influencing finance and ESG valuation. Some supporters say they're the adults in the room. Either way, the overlap between club predictions and real world policy is uncanny. And basically, hip hop has its own limits to growth moment when streaming overtook physical, tangible sales. Suddenly, the ecosystem needed new models, which were 360 deals, brand partnerships, sync licensing, and also influencer markets. Systems pivot when core inputs change, same as states do. All right, number 8 we got is the number one, the one who's known the most, the Illuminati. The Illuminati began as a real Enlightenment society founded in 1776 in Bavaria by Adam Weishaupt. Their actual goals were secular education, anti-monarchy politics, science over superstition, and rational governance. In modern language, there were the overachievers who hated kings. They were banned in 1785, yet somehow became the Nike of conspiracies. So today, Illuminati organization is more so an aesthetic. Triangles, pyramids, all-seeing eye, hidden hand, celebrity control, and most of all, industry puppeteering. Most historians believe the original group died out. Conspiracy theorists believe it mutated into new power structures. Both are interesting theories for different reasons. Now, what keeps the Illuminati myth alive isn't proof, it's just the pattern recognition that we see. Tech billionaires with world-scale influence, unelected power steering nations, surveillance architectures, financial globalization, algorithmic thought control, censorship debates, and youth's fascination with symbols. It's not that an Illuminati is proven, it's that the world now behaves like it has one. No group has boosted Illuminati branding more than hip hop. Jay-Z turned pyramid hands into a cultural currency. Kanye invoked hidden powers, and Rihanna played with symbolism a lot. And they have fucking games and makeup and shit, like with the all seeing eye on it. Like that shit's crazy that they just don't even give a damn, bro. Like that's wild, man. And it's crazy that it like that's how they coming with it. Like, and we just sit here like it's cool, y'all. Like, bro, all this shit I named is shit that we see every day, man. This is shit that's really going on. But yeah, we spend most of our time fighting with each other instead of fighting the real shit that's going on in this world. Like, motherfucker, they telling you what you can and cannot eat and what you can and cannot buy. So it's like, come on, man. Nobody finds that shit weird, strange, with the powers that be that's doing this shit to us, but it's whatever. All right. This is someone I learned about in high school. Some people or group, along with the Masons, but the Jesuits, officially the Society of Jesus, were founded in 1540 as scholars, missionaries, and educators. Their power wasn't military, it was intellectual and philosophical warfare. Key influences or vectors that run, into each other are universities, diplomacy, theology, education systems, ethics frameworks, and political advising. Not gonna lie, the ones I did meet, them motherfuckers mean as hell, G. Not gonna hold you. But Jesuits shaped how entire nations think quietly. Jesuit trained leaders and academics occupy high-ranking positions in economics, diplomacy, ethics councils, theology, human rights board, and university systems. All right, now in 2013, something unprecedented happened. Pope Francis became the first Jesuit pope, which shifted Vatican geopolitics dramatically. Under Francis, the Vatican leaned into climate diplomacy, refugee discourse, poverty ethics, anti-corruption measures, post-growth economics, and criticism of finance capitalism. These positions overlap suspiciously well with global policy conversations from the WF, UN, and Club of Rome circles. Coincidence? Maybe. Alignment? Definitely. Anti-Jesuit theorists believe they're the original deep state. Pro-Jesuit scholars argue they're intellectual humanists trying to prevent collapse. The truth is hard to categorize because Jesuits don't operate like governments. They operate like thought architects. Jesuits are two geopolitics what ghostwriters are to rap, unseen intellectual impact. Jesuits more so think like this: why conquer land when you can conquer the ideas? And last but not least, before we get out of here, is going to be the Order of the Black Sun. The Order of the Black Sun is the most controversial entry because it's partially historical documentation and partially occult mythology. I spoke on a few of these before. I made videos on a few of these before. Please go check them out. They're somewhere in the vastness of the Squish Room. So go check out the podcast. And that new episode, Gone Has Daddy Issues. Go check it out. You might like it. All right. The Black Sun symbolism dates back to ancient Indo-European aesthetics, but its darkest chapter was its adoption by Nazi occult circles during World War II. The theories emerged in three lanes post-war. Historical, occult societies influencing the elite. The intelligence scientists absorbed into U.S. and Soviet programs through Operation Paperclip. And mystical, a post-war occult shadow order surviving underground. Mainstream historians accept lanes 1 and 2. Lane 3 remains the late night speculation territory. Black Sun symbolism resurged in fringe extremist groups, online subcultures, esoteric neo-fascist aesthetics, Russian ultranationalist circles, and European identitarian movements. And during the Ukraine war, 22 through 25, journalists know the Black Sun parallels appearing on both Russian and Ukrainian extremist fringes, a messy, political, inconvenient reality. The Black Sun are linked to remnants of the intelligence agencies, far-right occult networks, esoteric fascism, deep nationalism, and ethno-state ambitions. This is the point in documentary where YouTube's algorithm gets a little bit nervous. Hip-hop avoids fascist aesthetics like the plague, but it does share one overlap: the fascination with esoteric symbols. Different motivations, same symbolic economy. Black Sun is what happens when occult mythology accidentally survives World War II, and because then becomes some tumblecore for extremists, nonetheless. The hidden hand, if there is one. The funniest, scariest part of studying secret societies is realizing two truths. One, conspiracies overstate coordination, and two, most critics underestimate influence. The world isn't controlled by one shadow cabal. It is shaped by overlapping power networks. Financial, academic, corporate, military, technological, ideological. Each one thinks it's steering the ship, but none admits it's reacting to the other. Basically, it's less one puppet master and more complex label politics, tour managers, brands, lawyers, distributors, playlists, fan bases, you name it. Everyone moves the culture, but no one owns it outright. And that might be the closest version of the truth that we actually have. I appreciate y'all for rocking with me. Thank y'all for coming through. Thank you for just kicking it for the one time. I hope this helps y'all understand these groups, the way things maneuver, the powers that be, the things that are, and maybe you do your own research on these and see, how deep the rabbit hole really goes on these groups. And this is just 10 that I just picked. This isn't all of them. So by all means, do some more research on your own. See what you come up with and see how it works out for you. You know what I mean? I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all. This has been another episode of the Beat Detective Deep Dive Edition. Till next time, peace and hair grease. And I'm